phone is muted right now, so we can't hear what you are saying at the moment. It looks like it muted automatically when I passed over the ball to you. You should be able to unmute that with a little mute button to the right of your name in the panelists section of your participants panel.
Okay. Can you hear me okay now?
Yes,
okay.
we can. Thanks.
So let me introduce myself again. I'm sorry about that. So I am Sherry Jones, and I'm going to present to you on RGMOOC, which is a MOOC that we created based on the IGBL grant. So it's immersive gaming based learning grant, which we are trying to explore how to incorporate digital games and games of all types, analog or digital, into teaching. And what we took from the grant is that we implemented in a MOOC format, and we named it RGMOOC. Now, throughout this presentation, please feel free to ask me questions by sending me little chats or anything like that, and I'm sure Sean will prompt me to answer some questions. Also, at any time you want to access the slideshow, it is bit.ly/RGMOOC webinar. So everything I do is available online, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and get into this presentation. Okay, so I'm going to go over first our grant challenge. So the grant challenge basically is asking us how to incorporate games. And since my background is in philosophy, rhetoric, and composition, I decided to question how am I going to implement games in rhetoric and composition courses. So also the next question, since it is a big grant, is how are we going to scale game-based learning college-wide? Because it's not going to be, our goal wasn't supposed to be for one course, but how are we going to implement this type of course across the college? Okay, so our solution was to, again, kind of obvious for us, rhetoric and composition MOOC with video games as text. And the current session, actually, today's November 7th, our MOOC is actually ending on November 10th, but if you would like to visit that at any time you can, it is still open right now. And it is a 10-week course, and the URL for that MOOC is bit.ly/RGMOOC course. And again, if I'm going a little bit fast during this presentation, this slideshow is for you to access, okay? So we'll give you the URL later. So I was told that the video, you might not be able to hear the video, so I'm going to give you the URL. Give me one sec here. Fall 2000. Okay, and please let me know if you guys can see this URL. If you can, click on that and watch it for a couple minutes. So
click the green check mark when you're done watching the video, then you can know to move on. Okay.
got that done.
Like Brian's done too, Sherry. He's clicked his green check mark there, so.
Okay, great. Thank you for letting me know because I can't see it from this end.
Sure.
Yeah, so that was a trailer that we did by ourselves, okay? And basically showing a range of games that we'll be doing in this course, because when we say we're using digital games, we were not joking. We were using all genres you can possibly think of. The only one that we left out in the digital game selection is MMORPG, massive open role-playing games, because they take a long time to play, and our course is only 10 weeks, so we avoided that genre. But you can see that we gave a sample of games that we are going to implement in the course to kind of lure people on the internet to take our course. So I'm going to go into the research and theories behind the construction of this course. Okay. So first of all, I'm not going to bore you guys to tears about what MOOCs are, but I'm going to give you one particular quote that's relevant from Justin Reich, and this came out of Ed Week on August 6th, 2013. And this is how he defines the two different dominant types of MOOCs out there. XMOOC, essentially everything of Coursera, HarvardX, edX, those are basically LMSs plus auto-grader. So essentially you're taking a course using a LMS, and you're watching video lectures and you're taking quizzes. So this is what they mean by LMS plus auto-grader. The second type is called CMOOC, and CMOOC is a little bit different. CMOOC is basically the web plus syndication engine. And what we mean by syndication engine, imagine, if you will, when you're watching, television, television stations feature their show all across, so a mass broadcast to a large audience. So a CMOOC, the intention behind a CMOOC is to help participants connect with each other on the internet and also allow them to broadcast their work as if it's a giant publication engine, okay? So RGMOOC is designed with connectivism, which is what drives CMOOC, plus games, plus open access, plus CC, which is Creative Commons, plus syndication. So we want students to be able to create things in RGMOOC and also get publication credit for creating their own projects. Okay, so RGMOOC just really stands for Rhetoric plus Game-Based MOOC. And I'm going to go over GMOOC theory, which is what RGMOOC actually is. Okay, so it's a little bit different than CMOOC, it's a little bit different from XMOOC. So GMOOC stands for Game-Based MOOC. And the term GMOOC is actually coined by myself and also Jack Park, who's the founder of knowledge gardening theory. So we both came up with the term together. And this is what I incorporate into this theory in my part of the development of this theory. So a GMOOC has to have some elements of role-playing and narrative-driven design. And narrative-driven, there are three particular categories of narration, and I'm talking about episodic, epistolary, and magic realism environment. So later I will explore what I mean by those type of narratives. Okay? GMOOC also uses digital games for immersive learning of almost any discipline. So for our course, the reason why we call it RGMOOC is because that R represents rhetoric and composition. Okay? So for our instance, we're teaching rhetoric and comp. But my argument is that you can use digital games to teach any discipline you can think of. Okay? Now there's a little more to the theory. So it is beyond CMOOCs because it is syndication, so it does allow you to broadcast your work, but also it's syndication with games. So students are not only playing games, but they will be making games through RGMOOC. Okay, the platform UX design, so UX design represents user experience design, is game-like or interactive. So unlike a regular LMS, which is not exactly that interactive in terms of immersion, so you can click and you can participate in chats or discussions. But what we mean by game-like UX design is that it should give you the feeling that you actually enter into a game rather than just an LMS. Okay, and you're playing to learn, so it's interactivity plus critical thinking plus problem solving. And games allow us to do that too. Okay, you're going to write about CoOp games. So CoOp stands for Commercial Off-the-Shelf Games via Game Studies. Both instructors and participants role play. So not only do we ask our participants to role play, but we also play a role. In a bit, you'll see what I mean by that. Okay, it is synchronous chat plus asynchronous curation. So synchronous chat meaning that we are talking to them in real time, live conferences, live chats. And asynchronous curation means that we are curating documents, articles, peer-reviewed journals for our students to review. And students are also curating what they have learned on the internet and sharing with all the other participants. Okay. It also contains massive collaborative writing on Etherpad. So essentially, we're asking students to write on one single document with many people across the Mooc. And also, everyone has co-publisher credit, co-author credit on the document. And lastly, you're going to create a game to demonstrate competency of what you have learned. And yes, we do provide badges as rewards or loot. Okay, so I'm going to go into the audience and methodology behind how we implemented RGMOOC. So first, what exactly or who exactly is RGMOOC's audience? Okay, so the intended audience we are asking for are gamers, non-gamers, writers, educators, enthusiastic learners, so essentially everybody. You do not have to be a gamer to take this course, but we certainly use digital games to teach you rhetorical and compositional concepts. Okay, and based on what we have experienced in RGMOOC 1, so RGMOOC 1 ran in the summer, and also it was a 10-week course. We had about 682 people attend each day of our course. Because it is open, not just to CCCS students, but basically the entire internet. We have about consistently 682 people visiting us each day. Now, the current RGMOOC 2, which is running between September 2nd to November 10th, which is in a few days will be over, but we had a record about 750 people attending us each day, and it's on and off. But again, we reached a higher number in the second round because we became known after we ran RGMOOC 1. Okay, and the surprising part is we have students, professors, business leaders, and lifelong learners joining us. And also, we were surprised that professors who are running MOOCs at Udacity and Coursera lurked in our course to see what we are doing. Because what we are doing is it's very, very different from any other MOOC makers out there that are providing this kind of game. Oh, and I see a question there. Okay, so the question from Deb is how many composition students are attending the course for credit? So we have associated, and in a bit I'll explain that how RGMOOC set up, but we have set up this course in association with a hybrid course at ACC, Arapahoe Community College. And for the summer, because we only ran one session, we had about 7-8 students because they didn't really understand the course yet. But in fall, we had about 25 students attending 2 sessions. So at start, we had about 50 students taking RGMOOC. All right, so here I'm going to go into the hybrid section here. So for fall, we associated 2 ACC hybrid courses with RGMOOC, okay? And our hybrid students attended a face-to-face class for writing practices and clarification of ideas. So they would join us only once a week. and my co-teacher, Kate Guthrie Caruso, who I will explain in a bit, she ran a session on Monday, and I ran a session on Tuesday. And in those sessions, we basically give students an introduction to the concept, and we also give them clarification of how to use the technology as well as the writing principles. Okay? Then the rest of the week, they are participating on RGMOOC like all the other MOOC students. Okay? Also, we provided them an open lab with laptops that are available for them to access. Thanks to the IGBL grant, we were able to purchase 30 laptops and place them in a classroom so the student can go in there and play games and get their homework done after they attended our Monday or Tuesday session. Okay, so that's what that's for. Okay, so now to ensure the grant project success, there are a lot of things that we have to do. So I just want to show you guys a scope of what we actually have to do to make this MOOC run. Because a lot of people think that a MOOC is just an online course, but there's a lot to go into a MOOC for it to run, okay? So here's what I have to do. So I am the project leader of this grant. I am also the game study, rhetoric study, new media researcher. So I did all the research for game studies and rhetoric study and new media. I'm also the curator of all the games for this course. So what I started with was I had to curate about 1,500 games and then filter them down to the ones I think are accessible for our weekly discussions, because not all the games are going to fulfill what I would like to do, so I have to be selective. Okay. I'm also the primary UX designer, so I wrote the HTML and the JavaScript for the course. I ran on Canvas, so I did the complete new web pages without templates. I also created lecture videos. I also marketed our course on social media because, again, a MOOC, simply because you have it open doesn't mean anyone's going to go there. So I had to do all the social media marketing via Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and also I went through Stephen Downs and George Siemens' website, advertise our course, which they did help us. I also created writing exercises. I was also the instructor, and I also provided game-based learning training for ACC faculty. Okay, so Kate Guthrie Caruso is my co-teacher, and she also helped me write the grant. She's the project co-leader on this grant. She was the composition MLA researcher. She did the Web2 tutorial maker. She did the tutorials. She also did the lectures. She did discussions and tweet chat moderation. So tweet chat is basically a chat platform for us to discuss ideas with students via twitter.com. She was also the editor, instructor, and gamification trainer. So you see that each of us have to don many, many, many hats in order for this project to run successfully. Okay, now I'm going to go into the pedagogy. And the pedagogy, and it's going to get exciting, okay, very soon here. So there actually are 4 briefs or 4 directives in an RGMOOC brief. So we gamify even the way we deliver the instruction because we want the experience to feel game-like for our students. Okay, so RGMOOC assigned 4 directives for each week's brief, and they are Intel, games, directed co-ops, live debriefings. And the agents have to fulfill the brief, okay, of those 4 directives in order to master critical analysis and evaluation of the rhetoric of game programming and game systems. So those are the things that students have to do every week in order to progress to week 2, week 3, week 4, and so on. Okay, so here's the first directive. So the first directive is called the Intel, and we mean by level up, is Intel represents the assigned readings and lectures. So I would curate some news articles and peer-reviewed journals for students to read. And also I created a lecture video to synthesize the various information that we offer to them. So we call that Intel. Agents, which are our participants, have the choice of reading a range of texts, and they range from easy to difficult. Again, just as a reminder, we had participants we had a 15-year-old taking our course all the way to a 70-year-old taking our course. We also had professors taking our course, as well as people who are completely new to rhetoric and composition or even game studies. So we had to provide a range of texts, the difficulty from easy to difficult, so that we can satisfy all the participants' needs. Okay, so we gave levels so they know what the difficulties are. So level 1 is heroic or a medium difficulty. And level legendary is advanced difficulty, which means that you would need some prior discipline-based knowledge to access. So if an article it's about the psychology of games. You might need to have some understanding of psychology in order to crack that intel. Okay, so I'm going to show you a video here, and I'm going to give you guys the link, so give me one sec. Okay, I'm going to give you this link, and I would like you guys to watch, and I'll give you the time here, from 12:13 to 5:30. You might not have to watch all of that, but if you can just watch as a sample to understand how my lecture videos run, and I'll go through you guys. So give me a little check or give me a little chat to let me know you finished. Okay, so I'm seeing that people are done, so thank you for letting me know. I'm going to go back into the presentation now. So let me open that up again. Thanks. Okay, that was just a sampling of the type of videos that students are watching in our course, and it's really a synthesis of ideas because we give them more, you know, any given week, sometimes it's 10 articles, sometimes it's 50 articles. So students have to choose what they want to read. But my videos serve to synthesize different points of view so they understand how to progress each week. One of the concepts or the principle that we were teaching in our course is the procedural rhetoric. And procedural rhetoric is defined as a type of procedural literacy that advances and challenges the logics that underlie behavior and how such logics work. And that is from Ian Bogost, and he's a famous game studies scholar in the field right now. And basically what he is saying is that games, just like any other literature, have certain rules within, but digital games particularly are interesting because the programming that institute rules or enforce rules are actually making arguments about the world. So when we're asking students to play video games, we're trying to teach them how to understand the logic of how a game runs. And that's where the procedural rhetoric comes in. Okay, so the second directive. So what I've just shown you was the first directive, which are the intel. The second directive is plain and simple. We're asking to play a game. Okay, so each week after reviewing the intel, agents are required to play one game from an extensive game collection. So during this semester, I have given them 15 games, and they get to choose one out of the 15 games they want to play. The thinking behind that is all students, not every student is a gamer, first of all. They didn't come in understanding how to play complex games. So again, we give them a range of games to play. Some gamers don't like role-playing games, while others hate shooter games. So we have to give them games from many different types of genres so they have a choice to make. Okay? Now, web and PC games from various game genres are assigned. Also, playing the games prepares students to complete directed co-ops about the game. So directed co-op is writing assignments about the game. So they read the intel, then they play a game, then they write about the game. Okay, so Let's Play videos, also known as LPs, are offered as gaming guides. So we do not expect students to be able to finish a game from beginning to end. Some games take 20 minutes to play. Other games might take 40 hours to play. So we do provide them tutorials to understand how to play through a game at the beginning levels. Okay, so I can't show you guys both of these, but I think I'm going to show you one. So I'm sorry, here's another quick little video. Okay, so 1 second. Okay, and this video, please watch about 2 minutes in just to get a taste of what a Let's Play video looks like. And these videos are done by the Game Mold, which is Stephen Getter, who is our in-house game designer, game developer, who did these videos for us. Okay, and again, let me know when you finish. Okay, thank you. Okay, so there is another video on here, but I think I'm going to leave it for you guys to watch on your own because, again, this set of slides that you're seeing right now is available for you to access anytime online, okay? So I'll let you guys watch the other one. But that was just a taste of what a gameplay or a Let's Play video is. It's essentially showing students how to play something step by step. So if they're afraid to play a game, they could cheat by actually watching a game while play through it and then do the writing assignment that way. So it's up to them what they would like to do. But what we found out was after some of the students watched the Let's Play videos, they want to defeat the game mode. They want to compete against them. So they went ahead and played the game anyway, even if they were afraid to play in the first place. So there's a nice effect there. I'm going to go farther in here. All right. Now, the game will also serve other functions, okay? He also has a narrative function in this course. So remember at the beginning when I talked about RGMOOC theory containing 3 types of narrative forms or narrative organization? I'm going to go into those narrative forms right now. So the first type of narrative is the episodic narrative. It's implied in the name. Basically, episodic means episodes, okay? So narrative and episodes have set readers' anticipation to read more subsequent narratives. So it is my belief that with the high Mooc dropout rate, if we can implement some kind of storyline with the Mooc and that the Mooc itself is an adventure, the participants are more willing to come back and continue the course because they want to come back and read what happens next to the game mode. So there's the episodic narrative implementation. The second type is called epistolary narrative. So epistolary means letters, okay? So it's basically narrative written in documents through a series. So if any of you have ever played a game before, some games actually tell a story by embedding letters and books and whatnot throughout the game. So when the character goes through a game and they discover letters or books and they read it, they start to understand or piece together what exactly the game story is about. So the epistolary narrative is that we leave documents inside the Mooc for students to discover and give them bits and pieces for them to understand what the Mooc is about. Okay? And lastly, the game offers both episodic and epistolary narratives to lure participants back to RGMOOC. Now, the third element is called magic realism. So magic realism is when a narrative breaks the rules of our real world. And I like this particular definition by Matthew Stretcher, and I'm going to just read this off to you here. So Professor Matthew Stretcher defines magic realism as what happens when a highly detailed, realistic setting is invaded by something too strange to believe. So consider that the Mooc, RGMOOC, is a narrative in itself. Okay, we have our story, and the story is that we are a secret agency. We're spies, essentially. I am the RGMOOC headquarter agent, a director, and also Kate Guthrie Caruso is also the other director. So we are running this agency, and participants who enter RGMOOC are our agents who will do our bidding. So if we tell them to read something, they're going to read it because they're our agents, okay? But how does magic realism enter into this course? The game mode plays a spy who disrupts RGMOOC's own narrative by providing secret or hidden intel to participants. So he is basically the cheater. So if the students get stuck on the reading, okay, after watching my lecture, they're still getting stuck, or if they're playing a game, they don't know how to progress, the game mode will secretly send notes, epistolary notes, to our participants saying, okay, this is how you cheat. This is how you get through the game. So participants usually enjoy that because it's fun. They're in on the joke, okay? So that's how he disrupts the RGMOOC narrative with magic realism. So I'm going to read this part off to you. You might not be able to see this whole thing, but I'm going to read off what epistolary or a letter from game mode looks like, okay? So this one is titled, The Game Mode Swoops In and Neatly Lands His Carousel. Bracket. The stunt double uncouples the harness and exit, and then the real game mode steps out from behind a stage cut. Wow, did you see that great landing I made? The intelligence business sure is exciting sometimes. So how have you been getting along? Enjoying this week's intel? Well, I have something for you that is sure to catch your attention. So underneath that, it says Baby Blues Transmission 1, which is one of the Let's Play videos that he has created, okay? And then it follows. By the way, even though this is a horror genre game, I was never scared. Really, not ever at all. It was totally not scary, and I totally have no fear. Bang! What was that? The game mode was 3 feet farther away from after completing his backward leap. You pick up the book you accidentally drop on the table. Oh, it was just a book. Phew. Anyway, like I said, I am not afraid of anything. But I better get out of here just in case there are some RGMOOC headquarters people around. The game will quickly exits. Okay? So you see that this kind of letters, students will actually receive these letters in their email from our course. So it's very strange. It disrupts the narrative of the course, but at the same time, they're in on the joke because they know that this is a game character that we created through the course to help them along in the course. Okay, now I'm going to go into the third directive. The third directive is the directed co-ops. So directed co-ops are questions about the entails in the game design. So this course is not simply just reading and playing some games, but they need to be able to write about those games using the principles that we taught them to use. Okay? Agents must complete one game and be relevant intel to the game in order to complete one directed co-op. Each directed co-op, we're not asking for much each week, but we're asking for 200 words minimum. But we were surprised to find out that agents usually give us a whole lot more than 200 words. They think of surpassing the 200 words minimum as a challenge. So we have students that write 3-4-page essays for a given week, and that came out to be a very nice surprise. Okay. We also offer writing tutorials, so on MLA, paragraph writing, APA, how to do works cited reference lists. We offer all that. So here's another quickie video, and I want you guys to just watch about, a minute in or 2 minutes in. So I'll give you the link. Just give me 1 sec. And I do apologize about the number of videos, but again, because we are running a Mooc, it is rather important for you to get a sense of how we are running that Mooc, how students experience the Mooc. So, 1 sec. Please start watching the video about 5:44 and give it about 2 minutes or so to watch it. So 5 to 7 or maybe even 8, okay? And again, let me know when you're done. Thanks. Rhetoric studies. The GAMO offers Let's Play videos, and K offered excellent writing tutorials. So we cover all bases in this course, okay? I think I'm going to, I'll show you one. So I want to show you that after the student watches this video, I'm going to show you one directed co-op that they've done. Okay, to show you the rigor. Because, again, a lot of people might think that game study is frivolous simply because of the game elements in it, okay? But it actually is very rigorous depending on how you design a course. So I'm sorry, give me one more second. Oop. Okay, maybe not. I'll come back to that later, but there's a lot to go through, so let me come back to that later, okay? Okay, so I want to go into the fourth directive, which is actually the live debriefing. So I didn't mean to click on that so fast. What you see there, that image shot, is actually TWUBS, so TWUBS.com, and it's basically a chat program that works with Twitter.com. It allows us to have chat conversations with anyone on, that's using Twitter. And if you see that in the center of the screen, there's a hamster playing with, you know, a gamepad there. The hamster is our mascot. So if you see the hamster, you know that's RGMOOC, okay? So I'm going to go into, one second, sorry. Okay. So the last part, after the live debriefing, and live debriefing is we run it once a week, so it's a clarifying session. So if the students are lost on what to do, even if they watch the Intel video and they play the game, they still don't know how to dissect the game or analyze the game, we run a tweet chat every Thursday, and currently it's between 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock, 1 hour. And that is the time where we selected because we have international students, so we want to make sure that they can join us too. And within that hour, we ask them a series of questions about the lecture video, a series of questions about the game that they played, and see if they can answer them correctly, and also help them understand the concept. So once they got feedback from that, they go back in and do their weekly writing assignments. So there's that synchronous element using the live debriefing. So in the last part, which is weeks 9 through 10, which is, we're currently in week 10 right now, the participants are to make their own games to demonstrate understanding. And we have a couple, let me see if I can actually log in this thing. Okay, so I'm going to show you a game that's done by our student in the summer, and his name is Lucas Vila Koenig, and this is his published work, so we got permission from him to show this work here. What he did for his paper, for his game, is called Road Rage, so that was his paper, because for the third paper that they had to do is basically a proposal essay in order to complete the course, and here is his design work. Okay, so here's his thesis. He says, on roads throughout the world, road rage is a serious problem with severe implications. While it's not always easy, avoiding road rage is important. It sometimes takes legislation and government enforcement, but always requires effort and personal vigilance. We need to raise awareness of this problem and encourage drivers to be more cautious on the road, obey traffic regulations, be wary of factors that can cause aggressive driving in themselves or others. And the rest of this document here is his outline. So he's showing us how he's going to write that proposal essay, setting up in problem and solution format. Okay, so the course, you can see the rigor is really high. They have to create the outline first before they can touch making a game for us. I'm going to go back here because, again, this is all accessible if you'd like to see them later. So finally, we get to the part on evaluation and assessment. So how do we evaluate what we have done throughout this course? Okay, so there's a tool we use called Storify, and we ask agents to use Storify to curate, so save all their writing and their work, and turn in a Storify news article for a chance to receive an RGMOOC completion badge. So we give in a badge to certify that they completed the course successfully. And the badge currently has no credit. The students that receive credit for the course are only the students that registered at ACC who can receive credit, okay? The agents syndicate their work via Storify, and I'm going to show you one from Francisco Vargas. He's also our RGMOOC participant from Canada. Okay. And here's an example of his Storify page, and we're very proud of him. He's been absolutely excellent student, okay? So his title is called My RGMOOC Experience, okay? And first, I would like to introduce myself. So hi, everyone. I'm Fran from Canada. Been playing with video games for a while. Love RPGs and real-time strategy. And he introduced himself a bit. And currently, he is doing his PhD work in, let's see, undergrad psychology, psychological. So he was doing PhD work actually on the effects of games on gamers and also MOOCs. Okay, so he documented everything that's done. So, for example, he says here, favorite video game of the week. Immortal was my favorite video game this week. I really felt an emotional connection with the character, and that was an important part of the artistic experience, according to the Intel. So during that week, we discussed the concept of video games as art. So the students are discussing whether or not they see video games as art. And for Francisco, he seemed to think that Immortal represents an art-based game, okay? And he documented that. Also, I'm just going to skip along because this is a really large document. Okay. Another concept we taught in week 2 is called the paratextuality of games. So the idea that games actually express cultural biases or social issues, whether it's explicit or implicit on the creator's part, okay? So we can study video games and basically examine what's happening in society. So his favorite game of the week is 1916 Phantom Fishing in Kafka. So there's actually a video game that shows you the internal struggle of the author Kafka. There's another game called 1916, which is actually set in World War I in 1916, but instead of battling other soldiers, who are battling a giant dinosaur, okay? So there are different games that they play each week, but based on those games, they start to discuss social issues that are relevant to the games presented, okay? So that's what they did with the Storify project. Okay, so I'm not going to show you this video here, but we also did a promotional video for ACC, so for the students internally. And we discovered these elements. After the students at ACC took our course, we discovered that they developed a higher level of social media literacy. They learned to write extensively because they seem to think that writing is now a competition because we offer the course like a game. They also write collaboratively because they realize that if they don't work along with other students, they can't write very clear objectives. And also other students can help them write better as well. So that's what we mean by write collaboratively. They conduct advanced research to compete with MOOC agents, and they also become leaders who help other agents succeed in RGMOOC. So we tell our students at ACC that we see them as leaders. We see them as people who know more of how this course works since they have that one course, face-to-face course with us and a hybrid course. So they have an advantage over students who are taking it just purely as a MOOC. So we ask them, after you have a discussion with us, please bring your expertise, your knowledge to help other MOOC participants online, okay? All right. We also received press about RGMOOC after we ran the first one in the summer. So we have been evaluated by Mooc News and Reviews, and this is one of the prestigious sites that are reviewing MOOCs. And they reviewed it, and I'm going to show you a quick one here. Okay. So we had a student, Rosalia Levicki, and she is from Greece. She also happens to be a news reporter for various channels. So she decided to write a review about our course for Mooc News and Reviews, okay? And I'm just going to give you some clips here. So she said, starting the first paragraph, "Summertime and living is easy, or so the song goes. Among many hobbies of mine, gaming usually absorbs much of my free time. But this summer, it gave way to something different, setting games. I initially signed up for Rhetoric and Composition, the persuasive power of video games as paratext, also known as RGMOOC, because I was interested in the topic presented. But I quickly became fascinated by the argument that games can and should be taken seriously, something that non-gamers have a hard time accepting." Okay, so she went into great details about our course layout, and I also want to show you one little bit here. Okay, so I'm just going to show you the conclusion. This is a little advertising for us. She says, "The course will run its second session between September 2nd to November 10th. So she wants to help us promote the second course, okay? "And I've had a tip that Minecraft worshipers will have an advantage in this one. To be honest, RGMOOC is a great opportunity for people who love games to take their hobby a step further. The same goes for educators, gamification enthusiasts, and playing curious learners who wish to discover why this emerging industry is worth the buzz. As for me, RGMOOC made it clear that games are truly useful as well as entertaining. In fact, I went so far as to modify my research proposal in my master's program to language learning, German, through gaming, since there is plenty of material to go around, as opposed to German language learning notes, which were hard to come by, alas. The future looks promising as I enter RGMOOC phase 2. So this particular student, I am still in contact with her. In fact, she's showing me the progress of her master's thesis that she's developing it right now. So our course actually influenced her to change her thesis topic. Okay, so we have press now about our course. Oops, sorry about that. And we have a lot more, but I'm going to skip along here. But we also been reported by Roland Legrand, and that's a, let's see here. He's also a news reporter, and let's see. So he reported our course, and we also got a lot of participants joining us because of numerous news reports about the success of the summer session, okay? And this is reported through Dutch, I believe. I think Denmark, sorry, Denmark, okay? So we were also reporting in Denmark about our course. Okay. So skipping along, we covered lots of topics, so just so you guys can see a snippet of what we actually covered in RGMOOC. So we talked about games as art, we talked about the paratextuality and transmediality of games, game genres as mediators of meaning. So we're saying that the type of game constructed can actually affect the way we interpret the world, okay? Game rules, mechanics, and dynamic as procedural rhetoric. Once again, how do games make claims about social issues? Gameplay in Aristotelian triangle, rhetorical analysis of game design and game platforms, culture, and audience. So the topic here you can see is very well integrated between game studies and rhetoric studies, okay? Okay, this I'll let you guys watch. We actually ran RGMOOC in Minecraft, so we have Minecraft competitions for students to build their games and explain the argument they're trying to make with those games, okay, with the construction. Oops. Okay. All right. I'm going to stop it here. The slideshow once again, the URL is bit.ly/RGMOOC webinar, okay? Please feel free to access this slideshow. I know I cover a heck of a lot, and I couldn't show you all the videos. But again, because the slideshow is available, please feel free to access it at any time. And I think I'm going to pass the presenter to Sean, okay? So thank you.
You sharing all that hard work that you've done. And thank you so much, Brian and Deb, for joining us today. Again, this is, we recorded this one, so it's going to be up on the webinar. So anybody who wasn't able to come to this session at our Connect conference this year will be able to benefit from Sherry's experience. So thanks a lot, you guys. Are there any last questions before we finish up?
Okay, I see one question. I think Deb asked, grammar fights MOOCs. Yeah, that's pretty new. The grammar fights MOOCs, that's new. What have I done with RGMOOC? Oh, that wasn't a question. But thank you so much, Deb. Thank you for joining us. And yes, it took a lot of planning because what we were trying to do is to make a MOOC that is non-existent, basically. No MOOC out there is actually created like a game. So we challenged ourselves, and I think we saw a result because we got the press that we got. But yeah, I'm hoping that we can continue doing this as well.
Great, thanks so much for that, Deb. Yeah, this is definitely really exciting to see work like this that hasn't been done anywhere else.
Right.
Well, thanks again. You guys have a great day. Thank you for joining us, Deb and Brian, and thanks so much again for sharing. Everyone, take care.
Okay, thank you very much, guys.